Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the Town Council meeting to order for January 14th, 2019 at 8 p.m. I'm Ken Poisson, 6th District Councilman and Council Chairman Pro Tem. I'll be sitting in for Council Chairman Jim Connor, who is home under the weather. He's been ill for over a week, so we wish Jim to get back to good health quickly. The next item on the agenda is the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Councilman Kadim.
Almighty God, I'd like to thank you for this new year we came into. God have mercy on the young man who had a situation when he perished in the new year. And God have mercy on the fact that we lost our Shakespeare Theater. May we get another one. Thank you, Father, for giving us life, love, and happiness. This new year came in with a storm, and I pray that all of us have your mercy and your grace. Thank you, Father. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
The chair is looking for a motion to approve the minutes of our regularly scheduled meeting of December 10th, 2018.
So moved.
By Councilman Ticky. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Kadim. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. There are no ceremonial presentations or awards this evening. The next item is communications, bills, petitions, and remonstrances. And we have Andrea Boycevan, our Director of Health.
Good evening. I'm honored to be able to present our 6th annual published report that highlights the good work and the programming that we do within the Stratford Health Department and Community Services. We work with a lot of data, and we like to make data-driven decisions, and we like to be able to share that. We're sharing this with our governing entity as a nationally accredited local health department. That's part of what you do, wanting to make sure, and it's, we're kind of an unsung hero in the town. I wanted to just point out in the very back, we talk about the work that we do with our partners in the region, the Stratford, Trumbull, Monroe, Bridgeport, Easton, Fairfield Community Health Improvement Collaborative, where we work with the 2 acute care hospitals, the 2 federally qualified centers, and some other agencies to improve the health of our collective communities. And so with that, I leave you with this great little nugget, highlighting our work, and I thank you for the opportunity to serve as your health director.
Thank you, Andrea. Item 4 is Mayor's Report, Committee Reports, Town Attorney's Report. 4.1 is the Mayor's Report. Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Council Chair. I hope everybody had enjoyable holidays, and I wish you all a very happy and healthy 2019. Some of the events that we experienced this past, within the last council meeting, on December 29th, there was a ribbon cutting at the VFW. They built a new deck. They got a grant from Home Depot, and so we christened it, cut the ribbon on the 29th. On January 9th, many of you took advantage of the open house and guided tour at the new building at Stratford High School. We hope to have another one, as many people didn't know about it, but I think there were over 1,000 people that went through the door, so we were very happy that the community was able to see the efforts of all our good work. And also on January 9th, I happened to be in Hartford for the opening day of the legislative session and the governor's inauguration. A few updates for the council members. I'd like to tell you about appointments to the Ethics Commission. I appointed Patricia Gallagher, 25 Elmhurst Avenue, to fulfill a vacancy of Bruce Hawley. The term will expire on July 8th, 2021. Gladys Ramos, who is currently serving as an alternate, I would like to appoint as a full member. She lives at 72 Mohawk Street, and she will fulfill the vacancy, and her term also expires on July 8th, 2021. As alternate members, I'd like to appoint Tim Bishop, 5825 Main Street, to fulfill the vacancy of Gladys Ramos, who was an alternate member, is now being recommended for a full membership. And the last appointment for an alternate is Charles Lindbergh, 145 Glenwood Avenue, to fulfill the vacancy of David Kennedy, expiring also on July 8th, 2021. We received notice on January 8th, 2019, that the Stratford Board of Education and the Stratford Education Association have come to terms and jointly filed a stipulated agreement for their collective bargaining unit. The contract period is July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2022. The wages increase over a 3-year period is 2% in year 1, 1.5% in year 2, and 1.67% in year 3. And you will all be receiving copies of the agreement. On early morning of Tuesday, January 28th, we had a statewide 911 failure. It impacted every community in the state of Connecticut, including the town of Stratford. The town 911 center was notified of the outage by an automated message from the state's 911 vendor. While service the outage did not last long, it did interfere with at least one known attempt to reach first responders through a 911 in an emergency situation in Stratford. We take great effort to have our residents rely on 911 for emergency calls, and the outage early that morning could understandably shake the confidence of the public, as it has for the public safety community. We will certainly be pursuing answers from state officials. As I met with Representative J.P. Straczynski today, who's the ranking member on the Public Safety Committee for the state, they will be having a hearing, and they will outline the potential solutions to prevent this from happening again. Our residents need to know that when lives are on the line, the 911 system will work. We also are examining what we can do at a local level to respond to the outage, as if we find a solution that ensure no one is calling 911 and left hanging. It's a good idea for residents to program the local police number in their phones and to post it next to landlines or cell phones somehow as added security. As many of you know, the number is 203-385-4100, and it can also be used to reach fire and emergency medical services. The Shakespeare Theater fire that we've all been discussing for the last several days, the Stratford Fire Department responded to several calls shortly before 1 a.m. on Sunday, January 13th, at the fire at the location of Shakespeare Theater on Elm Street. Stratford Fire, Police, and EMS crews responded to the scene. They were added by Milford and Bridgeport Fire Departments. The large fire soon engulfed the entire building, and despite the quick actions of first responders, the building is a total loss. The loss of this iconic and historic theater that holds a special place in the hearts of many Stratford residents, as well as those in the community, other community members in the state and the nation, is devastating. Our first concern is ensuring safety and making sure the site is secured and that it will be no further threat to public safety. The fire continues to be under investigation by local and state authorities, and we will determine the exact cause of the fire. And we will be working in concert with state officials to do just that. And I want to thank the dedication of our fire, police, EMS departments and their personnel, and also those from neighboring Milford and Bridgeport for their quick actions to keep our residents safe in the response of emergency. And while we were, all four houses were fighting the fire with the aid of Bridgeport and Milford, Fairfield and Shelton took on our unoccupied areas of the fire stations and covered us to assist in townwide coverage, so there wouldn't be any additional lack of coverage. As we had a lengthy press conference today, as many of you know, some of you were here, we are endeavoring to keep all the information available to the public about what we're doing, what happened, and the next steps. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out to me directly. Some other items that we did this year after the holidays was we started the Christmas light recycling program. So now the town is collecting Christmas lights as part of your recycling. You can just put them in your bins. You know, instead of throwing them in the garbage, you can, and we will recycle them with our vendor. Garlands, live wreaths, and trees are not recyclable, and they won't be accepted, but I said trees, let me take that back. Live greens and wreaths. But the trees our collection. In fact, ours was picked up a couple days ago, so. All you have to do is put it on the curb. Just remember to take off all your garland, tinsel, and whatever else you have, decorations you have on it. And that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. 4.2 is questions for the mayor. Does anybody have a question for the mayor? No, not at this time. There's nothing on the agenda for public input at this time.
For executive session? Okay.
Can we expect advance notification on the Shakespeare Theater for 2 weeks for the public to know in advance if that's going to be on your agenda, Ms. Mayor?
So, Ms. Dobis, you are more than welcome to call me at any time, email me, and I will respond to you. I understand what your point is. And as your sister can attest, because she was here at the press conference today, I'm sorry, she looks like your sister. Karen? Okay. My apologies.
Ken and I used to share a Cape Cod house, so we're all related.
Well, so we are endeavoring, yes, no, I understand. We are endeavoring to make everything as public as possible, because this was such a, pardon me?
Thank you, Laura.
It was such a tragedy that happened in this community, and everybody, it affects everybody in different ways, and I just really feel that the best way to keep things moving forward and for the public to be involved in what's happening is to have that information. So, yes, we will be bringing, as we learn new things, we will bring them forward, either press releases or special meetings. I'm not exactly sure the form that we will do that, but we shall.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Okay.
Any councilors have questions for the mayor? Councilor Khan.
Thank you, Chair. It may be an obvious, it's more of a suggestion, Mayor. Some rumors may be that we did not have a good security system at the theater, or a good fire detection system, or a good fire prevention system. And as the investigation unfolds and we learn more specificities, that what we learn, we do an inventory of our other town assets and assure that they can be up to a standard that would prevent a second incident. That's
Excellent point, Councilor. As you are well aware, we have many old buildings in Stratford, and we're very proud of them. When I think of Booth, or I think of Judson House, well, Judson House isn't owned by the town, but Perry House, those are assets for us, and they're assets that we really cannot easily or inexpensively replace. When we did the Perry House renovation, we sprinklered the building. But some of the Booth Park buildings, I do not believe are sprinklered. And they are not required by law, as the fire marshal informed me. I'm learning more every second about things like this. So, though we can do an inventory and we can identify where there are deficiencies, it'll be up to the council to decide if we want to sprinkler these buildings or not. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Councilor Kadim.
How are you, Yana? Good to see you. Happy New Year to you and your family. Healthy and prosperous for you and your family. God bless you guys. The question came up about insurance on the buildings we have. Schools, are they insured? Is Shakespeare, was that insured? Any of our other buildings that we own? I'm quite sure they are, but I just need to know because of a constituent's question.
So they are insured, and we have a schedule of assets and listing the values of the building and what they are insured for. We have filed a claim for the theater loss. We are meeting with the claims adjuster tomorrow, so I'll be able to share more information with you after that.
Thank you. Another question was, because of the long journey with trying to get Shakespeare open for so many decades, even in my district as well, a lot of people are concerned about what's going to go there next. I know you don't know that, but I have to ask what they ask me. And I know that you're going to keep us abreast. I'll be reaching out to you to get more information, and when we have a community meeting, I hope that you're available. Also, I was so happy to see you in the stand, in the stands here, listening to the public forum, because that's so important, you know, because I really believe that you hearing that helps be more informed of what the people are doing or what they're thinking. And it's the first time I ever saw that, so I'm happy to have seen that. And you're doing a great job, and thank you.
Any other questions for the mayor? Councilor Pia.
Excuse me. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Excuse my voice, I have a cold this evening. Just want to start off by saying thank you for everything in terms of the responsiveness of the town assets yesterday. I was down there personally yesterday morning as Shakespeare's in my district, and as it was very difficult to see it go. I have always been in my life a forward thinker and an optimist, and listening to many people of the town here tonight in the public forum, I heard a very good sense of optimism about the pride of Stratford going forward and what we're going to do to work together to keep that property what it is meant to be going forward for the town. So I know, working with this council and working with your office and administration over the last year that we've been elected representatives for the town, we've worked together in a very open, excellent, transparent way, and the communication between all of us has been fantastic. And I know all of us would agree with that. And I know that that will be brought forth in open discussions going forward about what Shakespeare should become and will become. So thank you to you, and again to all the emergency personnel, fire, EMS, police, and public works. Thank you.
Councilor OBrien.
I just want to thank the mayor and your staff for the countless hours you spent on the scene since the morning of the fire, and ask the question, or can you talk a little bit about the contract with the state, that so people will know we're not going to build condos there?
So as we discussed today, thank you for the question, Councilor. It was an advantage to me to have Senator Kevin Kelly here, who was the town attorney when the Quitclaim Deed from the state came through. And I'm going to try to read this to you, so at least short parts of it, so you understand that condos are not an option on this property. The town will reserve the property, no less of 20% of the property, for open space, and preserve it with to preserve all the regulated wetlands. The open space areas may consist of no more than 4 separate pieces, with the goal of preserving the open space in the largest parcels feasible. Prior to any new construction or expansion of the existing buildings, the town will survey the premises and will notify the state of the designated open space and regulated wetlands. The entire property shall remain accessible to the general public for their enjoyment in perpetuity. So that's forever. The premises conveyed subject to any and all liens, whether recorded or unrecorded, such as the encumbrance of the record may appear, or any such facts of the accuracy of the survey inspection of the premises would disclose, and will all applicable provisions of the federal, state, and local law. And then probably the most important thing to everybody here is the town shall make reasonable efforts to utilize the premises for public entertainment purposes, including and but not limited to continuing its historic use for theater purposes. So that's in the deed that's filed. Thank you.
Any other questions for the mayor? Councilor Khan.
Thank you, Chair. Mayor, in what you just read from the Quitclaim Deed, the point right after 20%, that the entire property will remain available to the public?
The entire property. So when you think about the accessible property, so that's the different word. The accessible property, probably, my interpretation, not a lawyer, would not include the building. So if the building was 30,000 square feet, the public would not have access just into the building, but in the public area of the land proper. But we can check onto that a little bit more, if you'd like.
Thank you for explaining the protections.
Okay, item 4.3 is committee reports.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to add an item to the agenda regarding committee reports for the Building Needs Committee.
Okay, we have a motion to add an item to the agenda. Is there a second? Second by Councillor Harden. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I'd like to add that HB Communications for a quote number 002328 in the amount of $56,815.04 for video production equipment that came with a favorable recommendation from the Building Needs Committee be approved.
Hey, is there a second? Second by Councillor Perillo. Is there any discussion?
Yes, sir. Now, the communications downstairs that deals with our mics and cameras, all that, right? Which one is?
This is
Okay.
this is
Just wanna
for
make sure.
this
Thank
is for Stratford High. That may not have been mentioned. That's our error. This is from Stratford High. It went from the Stratford High Subcommittee to Building Needs to us.
Thank you very much.
Any other discussion?
Oh, yes, was that part of the money already allocated to reason we're having this? Okay, because
Yes.
I know when we sat on that committee for so long, that a lot of money was already allocated, and what we're doing now is just releasing it.
Yes.
Just to be clear, so
Yep,
everybody
nope.
don't think we're trying to take more money. Just
Oh,
wanna make-
absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item 4.4 is the Town Attorney's Report.
We have 2 items to discuss in executive session.
Hey, the chair is looking for a motion to go into executive session.
Motion.
Mr. Chair.
So moved.
Councillor Kadim, is there a second? Mr. Pia made the motion, seconded by Mr. Kadim.
To read it into the minutes, that's why. So, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss the pending litigation in the matter of Gillespie versus the Town of Stratford and the Beach House lease, to discuss the lease as publicly regarding the lease would adversely impact the price and terms of the lease. The persons in attendance shall be the members of the Town Council, Town Attorney Christopher Hodgson, Assistant Town Attorneys Leclerc and Floric and Jackson, Mayor Laura Hoydick, Chief Administrative Officer Christopher Timniak, and Finance Director Mr. Jay Wahlberg.
Hey, motion by Mr. Pia, is there a second? Second. Second by Mr. Kadim. Mr. Pia, is Michael Downs on that list?
No, he should have been.
Chief of Staff?
Chief of Staff was not, but if it's okay with the town attorneys, I'd like to add Mr. Michael Downs, Chief of Staff.
Mr. Kadim, you still second that? Okay, thank you. Okay, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carries unanimously. We'll go into executive session at 8:24 p.m.